It's time to get into the nitty gritty. They need to be right for you. You've got to make sure that they're a good fit. They've got to fit your style. It can sometimes feel overwhelming because there are so many people out there and you just don't know which one is right for you. Hello lovely couples and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren, wedding planner and owner of Bluebird Creative. I provide a weekly dose of wedding planning goodness for the modern couple. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell so that you'll be notified every week when a new video lands. I'm also over on Instagram at Bluebird_creative. So make sure you come and check me out over there. I do a lot of behind the scenes. I ramble away to the camera on stories. I love stories, guys. It's just a bit more real, a bit more raw, and you get to see what it's like running a wedding planning business. So come and join me over there. But this week we are jumping into the topic of wedding suppliers, or wedding vendors as they're called in the US. Now, this can be really overwhelming for people because there are so many amazing options and different suppliers and different vendors out there. So how do you start this process? So I thought I would break it down, talk through what you need to have in place before you start searching for your suppliers, and then talk about the really important things that you need to know when you are searching for suppliers so that you can really find your A team and the best people for you for your wedding day, because that is absolutely key, guys. You want your best team. So first things first, you need to have in place your budget, your venue, and your design. Those are the things that need to be in place before you start looking for the rest of your suppliers. The only supplier that you may put in place before you find your venue is a wedding planner, because they might be helping you source your wedding venue. So obviously you're going to want them in place beforehand. You don't have to if you decide to have a wedding planner. A lot of planners will start after the venue is sourced as well, but just an example for you. So you want to make sure that that budget is sorted. That is absolutely number one. What is your total budget for your wedding? I have done so many videos, different videos talking about budget in different ways. I will link one of them up here for you, and I'll make sure that there are some linked in the description box below as well. It's absolutely key, guys. Budget, 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 budget. I always talk about it. You have to know it. Then you need to know where your venue is, because obviously that is going to be the location of the wedding and people need to know that. So that is absolutely key. And then the reason I say that you need to have your design is because you're going to have an idea in place, and that design is then going to reflect the type of suppliers that you want to pull on board to help you create that design. So it's really important that you have a vision, that you have a design ready, even if it's rough, and they're going to help you build on that and elaborate your ideas. But you need an idea before you just go into it and start selecting suppliers. So that's really important, guys, to have those three bases covered before you start reaching out to the majority of your suppliers. So let's jump in now to how you would actually find the right suppliers for you. Now, if you haven't got it already, I do something called a budget split, and I have linked the link to my budget split document so you can use it for free, guys. So basically, once you know your total budget, you then need to use my document to help split your budget into all the different areas of your wedding day, whether that's flowers, catering, the venue, entertainment, transport, accommodation, all the different things. You're going to split your budget up by a certain percentage, and then you're going to see how much you have to actually allocate towards each different supplier. You don't have to sit with that. It doesn't have to be fixed. You can tweak it. It's a rough idea. It's a guide. So go with it, guys. You may decide that actually you don't have that many guests and catering's not that important to you. You want more on flowers, or the band's really important. You're not fussed about flowers, so reallocate and so on. So once you've got those numbers in there, you can then go, it's saying that we've got £2,000 for flowers, but actually we want to put an extra £1,000 towards the band. Great, guys, absolutely do that. But you'll know what your numbers are, so then you know who you're approaching. So that is absolutely number one before you start reaching out to these suppliers. You have to know how much you've actually got to put towards them, because if you've got £1,000 for a florist, I don't know why I always go back to flowers. I'm slightly obsessed, obviously. Maybe I was a florist in a past life. But if you've got £1,000 to approach a florist, you're not going to approach a florist that has a minimum spend of £2,000. So you get where I'm going with this. Knowing your budget for each specific supplier cuts the process down, and it makes it a lot quicker for you guys. Then we move on to the style. Now, as I mentioned before, you want to have an idea of your design before you start reaching out to your suppliers. By then knowing your style, you will have an idea of, let's talk about flowers again, shall we? If you want somebody wild and romantic that uses seasonal local flowers, or perhaps you want somebody that is just so flamboyant with their flowers, but they're really structured and you want all the height, or you want to actually go somewhere and hire plants for your wedding day. Knowing your design and your style is going to affect the type of supplier that you go to. Somebody that perhaps just works with like pinks and purples is perhaps your ideal florist. Or let's talk about bands. You know, do you want an indie band? Do you want a DJ that's going to do house all night? You know, knowing that sort of like vision of how you want your day to work is going to then reflect in who you approach, obviously. Photography wise, another example for you. Do you like your photographer's work to be light and bright and airy? Or do you like the photographers that have quite a moody look to their photos? That is really, really important. You cannot approach light and airy photographer, love their style, and then say to them, could you make it dark and moody? Because that's a no, it's their artwork and that's how they work. So you want to approach the right people. Then location is really key, and that's why we need to have the venue booked beforehand. You don't want to be just saying to a florist, a caterer, a band, etc., this is the day of our wedding. We don't know where it is yet, and actually it's not confirmed because we need the venue obviously to confirm the date. I mean, it's just not going to work. It's backwards, guys. So you need to have your venue because that's obviously going to confirm the date for starters, but it's confirming the location as well. So having that venue is really, really key. Then you can decide, do you approach a photographer that's willing to travel? Do you approach a local florist so that they don't have to travel? You know who to approach. If you're having a marquee company, perhaps you need somebody that's a bit more local because there's another company that you love, but they're not going to travel 3 hours to set up the marquee where you're getting married. So again, location is really key. And then searching for suppliers that actually work within that area. Now you can do that by looking on Google and just literally Googling Surrey wedding photographer, or you can even go onto Instagram and get a really good vibe of people's style by looking on there and using the hashtags, for example, to search Oxford marquee company. This is so random that comes out of my mouth sometimes, these things. Or Scotland Highland dancing group. Yeah, I mean, literally start the search. Instagram's a great place because it's going to give you a visual as well. So if it's something that's to do with your wedding that's going to be part of the visuals and the design, that's a really good place to be searching, using the hashtags and so on. So location is really important, and then you can use location hashtags as well as just looking on Google to find your suppliers. I think another thing that's really important is personality, guys. So if you are choosing a caterer, perhaps you're not going to choose them on their personality. But if you are choosing a wedding planner, a wedding photographer, a videographer, a florist, or basically mainly the suppliers that are going to be with you all day. So if you're having a planner or a coordinator, photographer, videographer, those are the people that are with you the whole day. Maybe your makeup artists as well. They're not with you the whole day, but they're with you in the morning. You want to gel with their personality. You want to know that their art is amazing. You want to know that their service is amazing and that they're really amazing at what they do. But also you need to get on with them. They're going to be with you all day on the biggest day of your life, and you don't want to have an initial call with them and then kind of go, well, their work's amazing, but they're a bit of a, you know, you just don't want to have to feel like that on your wedding day. So I think personality is really, really key, and something we say to our clients when we're doing inquiry calls is you need to decide whether we're right for you, because if we're not the right planner for you, that's absolutely fine. You need to gel with us. You need to feel that we get you. And if you feel that with somebody else, then that's fine, because it's really, really important that you have somebody with you on the day that you feel comfortable with, that you fully trust. So photographer, makeup artist, videographer, wedding planner, those particular services and those particular suppliers, I would say really make sure that your personalities mesh as well. Obviously your other suppliers, you're going to want to get on with them as well, but I would say that those ones on the day that you're with in person are really important. One of the next things to consider is recommendation. Now, you may just find a supplier because you absolutely love them, and that's amazing. But obviously if you can go off a recommendation as well, then that's even better. You don't have to go off a recommendation, guys, but you may just feel a bit more confident that such and such used them, or my florist recommended that photographer. A lot of suppliers will recommend other suppliers that they work with, that they trust, that they know are amazing, that they've worked with before and therefore know that they're a pleasure to work with. Again, we have a list of recommended suppliers that we send out to all of our clients. We get approached daily in our inbox with people requesting to go on our list, and we just don't work like that. We only put people on our recommended supplier list that we have worked with before, because we want our clients to know that we fully trust the people that we're recommending, that we wholeheartedly know that they are absolutely amazing at what they do and that they are a pleasure to work with, because that is really important as well. So we refresh our supplier list every single year. We have one preferred supplier and 3 recommended suppliers for each category. It's not a massive list for each category. We just want it to be small and amazing. So definitely ask your suppliers that you're working with as well as you're going through the process. Can you recommend a caterer? Have you worked with a videographer before that you think suits our vibe? You know, they're usually more than happy to help recommend people for your wedding day, especially if you've got a particular aesthetic that they fit into. They may know somebody else that fits into that as well. And then finally, availability. Availability is obviously really, really key. And with the way that weddings are going at the minute, there's obviously been a backlog which has pushed things for a couple of years, and so wedding seasons are absolutely crazy. So definitely check their availability before you kind of think, yeah, we're going in with that person, I'm going to email them now and it's going to be fine because I really want them. You need to make sure that they're available. So that is really, really important as well, guys. So there you go. There's some really, really simple tips to help you find your A team, the best of the best people to suit you on your wedding day. And that may not be the same as person A and person C. You have to choose the right people for you. Again, guys, you do you. No supplier is right or wrong. It's just who you prefer, who you click with, and who suits your day best. So guys, have an amazing week. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you next week with some more wedding planning goodness.